Unexpected challenges or setbacks can hit us anytime, anywhere. How we respond to setbacks makes all the difference. Psychotherapist Nivedita Singh explains the 3 common responses to setbacks.
The common responses to setbacks have to do with our beliefs about ourselves, others, and the world. For example, if you have an entrance exam to a business school coming up and you're anxious about your performance, you might tell yourself, I must do well in these exams or else I won't be able to fulfill my dreams. And considering how hard I've worked, I will hereafter never ever do well in any exam in the world. Now let's look at this in detail. You're using personalization when you conclude that one exam or setback defines you as a bad or unworthy student. You're also giving evidence of permanence when you think that you will hereafter always be bad at taking exams all your life. And you're assuming it is pervasive when you think that you will never be able to do well in an exam anywhere in the world. Life has challenges and people face adversities, but looking at it from the point of view of the 3 Ps leads to emotional disturbances and stops us from giving ourselves another chance.
To deal with setbacks, Nivedita suggests following a 4-step process.
The steps that I normally follow when overcoming a setback is to first define the problem. Secondly, to identify any resistance to change that can sabotage the effort later. So there's outcome resistance, where people do not want the outcome. For example, my client Ravi was having an interpersonal problem with his boss, who as a result had held back Ravi's promotion. Ravi, however, did not want to invest in repairing the relationship because a promotion would have meant a transfer to another city. Clearly, the outcome was not very attractive to Ravi here. The other type of resistance is process resistance, where people do not want to put in hard work and discipline that the process of change will demand. After defining the problem and identifying resistance, the third thing is to list down the pros and cons of staying stuck. That is to analyze the price and the payoff. You may also call it, something like benefits and the cost of staying stuck. Some people may decide at this point that they want change, but not a 60% change. Maybe a more realistic 30%. We list this down and identify the areas where they want it. So the 4th step is to brainstorm options on how to change, keeping in mind the person's strengths and their limitations, and choosing the best fit option. And lastly, we set goals and define the steps towards meeting these goals in the areas that have been identified mutually.
Entrepreneur Ankur Variku explains how after suffering from an injury, he had to realign his goals to deal with the setback.
I was 32, overweight, not much of a fitness guy. And the first few months of a new year, I took a fitness resolution, and as part of that exercise regime, something snapped. And within 2 weeks, I couldn't walk. There was this intense pain in my hip bone that made me unable to walk. And at that precise moment, it dawned upon me how much I had abused my body. It wasn't diagnosed why I had that. It's called avascular necrosis, where the blood stops going to the hip bone and it makes it very hard for someone to walk. But it did make me realize that if I didn't take care of the only asset that I truly had, everything else was meaningless. So that's when I decided to get into a fitness regime that has stayed with me ever since, and hopefully will stay with me for the rest of my life. I now eat right, I work out well, but that setback set me on the right path because it made me aware of what's more important, what's more necessary, and thus is the only thing that I need to focus on, irrespective of everything else that's happening.
Setbacks may seem scary, but you can overcome them. Hope you're staying safe at home and washing your hands regularly.